Good morning. So I'm going to be doing a new series here. It's called Finished Deliveries with Rafe. I just finished my Amazon deliveries for the day and had a 4:15 a.m. pickup this morning. 46 packages to 44 locations. That's the life of an Amazon driver. By the way, don't forget to rate your Amazon driver. It makes a difference because the algorithm gives you better offers when you have a higher rating. So take that moment to rate your drivers, would you? So a couple of people have asked about why I am doing things like driving for Amazon Flex. Well, let me tell you, in the last couple of years, I have applied for well over 100 jobs. And I'd say 95% of them got no response at all. And then quite a few responses saying we won't be moving forward with you, with no explanation. And then I had 2 or 3 that went to interview via a series of questions that they send you and then ask you to record a video. Well, in those cases I got, we really liked you, but frankly, we're not moving forward. So that's the reality right now, I think, in the job market. I think it's difficult. And when I talked to a recruiter with WorkSource, he basically said, listen, being your age, you're not allowed to discriminate against people because of their age, but frankly, people can tell how old you are. So the reality is that nobody really wants to employ somebody who's 65 years old because they're probably thinking that you're going to be retiring soon. Well, that's just the reality of where things are. This delivery for Amazon is actually nice. I enjoy it. I get to see the sunrise every morning. I get to be out and about where there's nobody else around. I get to see animals. I've seen so many animals: deer, skunks, porcupines. I guess I have on my list, hopefully I'll get to see a mountain lion or something like that. I've seen coyotes, quite a few coyotes. They're more prevalent than you might imagine. So I guess the other question that's come up is about this time period of awakening. This thing that's happening right now, this pressure. And most of the comments that I've had on my video about that were, I hope so, and I'm ready for this to be over, stuff like that. So here's a question. How do you cope with everything that's going on around you? The world right now seems incredibly chaotic, doesn't it? I mean, there's so much happening, so much to be concerned about. And it seems that things are heating up. They're not getting any easier. One of the techniques that I use is staying in the present moment. Just an opinion of mine, but I think that fear, by the way, I think of fear as an acronym: false expectations about reality or false evidence appearing real. Fear is largely based in the what ifs. Like, what if we become a fascist state? What if I lose my job? What if I go bankrupt? There's all of that is set in the future. But in this present moment, in the now of this all, I'm driving my car down Sprague Avenue and I have nothing. None of those outcomes exist right now. They're all potentials for the future. So staying in the present moment is one of the things that I use. In this present moment, I'm looking at the sky. It's beautiful this morning. I'm looking at the trees. They're showing the first blush of fall coming. There is nothing in this present moment that suggests that I have any reason to be concerned. And yes, for sure, you might say, hey, you're being a fool, you're like an ostrich with your head in the sand. But here's the thing, if I spent all my time worrying about the future, where would I be? I would just be a worrywart and be worried the whole time. So I choose not to worry about it. I choose to remain in the present moment. The other thing about this great compression that's going on, this time of great awakening, is that when I think back over the times in my life where I have had the most growth, it has been through the most difficult periods of my life. It has never been when things are easy and when things are smooth. And, there are people that say that President Trump is evil and that the things that he is doing is evil. And sure, from my point of view, I look at what's going on and I don't like it. But I don't think of him as somebody who's necessarily evil. I think of him as a catalyst, because what he is forcing people to do is to look at their belief system, look at their values, and really examine those closely. If we were in a time where we had a president who was like many presidents of the past, you may not like some of the things that you're doing, but they would not cause the reaction that we are seeing when people see some of the things that are coming out of the current government. So it's causing people to really evaluate who they are. And in many cases, it's causing people to protest, to rise up and say, enough of this, I don't like what's going on. So it's interesting that we have this time where people are being forced to really think about who they are, think about what they believe in. And that's on both sides of the aisle. I mean, there are people that I see that are still avid supporters of President Trump, despite anything, and so maybe they have had chance to evaluate what they think about, and in their evaluation they've decided that they are on that side of the equation. But everybody is being forced to pick a side in this, whether they're overtly saying so or they're just saying being really quiet about what's happening with them. Everybody is being forced to really think about where they stand. And that may be the first step to the Great Awakening. Because as you move to this time where we begin to see the value in each other, where we begin to realize that we are living in a simulation in many ways. What do I mean by the simulation? Well, there is the very literal interpretation that exists in movies like The Matrix, where we may be all plugged into some great battery that is providing power for an alien ship. I don't think it's as literal as that, but I do think to some extent that we are in a bit of a simulation here. And the simulation is being created by the social media feed that we see, by the news reports that become ever narrower and support our point of view. I think it's time that we begin to, part of the Great Awakening is that it's time for us to start considering what other people have to say, what are their points of view. So I'm going to leave you with that thought. What do you think about that? I know it's a bit of a ramble this morning, but I'm hoping that you're tracking with me, and I'd love to hear your feedback. Have a beautiful day.